How to Train Your Dragon again. Hello there, namaste. So How to Train Your Dragon is the exact same film as the animation. There are only 3 things that were added in. One of which is okay because they never mentioned Hiccup's mother in the animation, and here they consistently bring her up. Time and again, she's brought up, and it's like, it could literally adds like 5 minutes with how many times they bring up Hiccup's mother. Because of course, they're gonna do the entire trilogy. The second thing that was added was this is a multicultural Viking village, and it's just, they had to have a throwaway line where Gerard Butler's walking around the table basically saying, oh, you came from this part of the world, you came from this part of the world, you came from this part of the world, all to meet here to challenge the... And it makes no sense, it's just like they're coming from all over the world. Well, dragons are everywhere. How'd they all end up in Berk? It kind of introduces an answer without giving us a real answer. So it was just there to be like, oh, people are going to complain that it's a multicultural Viking village, which makes no sense. So let's have a throwaway line, which in the end, if you think about it, makes no sense, especially when we start getting into movies 2 and 3. The third thing that was added is the one thing I enjoyed. So they start showing more of the family dynamic, how the children are kind of ignored. We have Snotlout, who's always trying to impress his father, who loves his father, but his father's constantly ignoring him, constantly, like, they could have leaned more into that. They have a piece of dialogue, which is like one of the only pieces of new dialogue that I liked, where Astrid is basically telling Hiccup that, oh, that house of yours, I'm gonna take it. And Hiccup's like, yeah, my dad will be happy if you were the one to become chieftain. You're the daughter, you're the child he's always wanted, not me. I'm just all of this. That's the only piece of dialogue in this film that I was like, oh, okay, this Hiccup can actually be Hiccup. Because one thing that was an issue, shot for shot, dialogue for dialogue, everything is the same as the animation. The problem I had with that is this Hiccup literally doesn't come across as his own character. It comes across as someone who's cosplaying. He went to a convention, went on stage to reenact a film. That's what it felt like to me, because he's literally doing all the lines the exact same way. There's nothing original to his character. And that's one thing that bothered me, because it's just like, literally, even you could literally take the scenes from the animation and the scenes from the live action, he literally tries to act out the same way the animation Hiccup did. And it's like, it works, but at the same time, it works only because it worked in the animation. In the live action, it just feels like he's copying it. And it really did feel forceful, especially the first argument between Hiccup and his father. It literally feels like I'm watching people on stage reenacting a scene that they liked from their favorite film. It doesn't feel genuine. And that's one thing I had issues with, because there is that aspect of being the parenthood, which they could have leaned into. I absolutely found that phenomenal. They could have done more of that. I mean, maybe they will in 2 and 3. Maybe they will start leaning into that more, because with how it was here, with Snotlout constantly trying to impress his father and his father ignoring him, they could have done more with Rough Nut and Tough Nut. They're just there. Even Fire Fist, and yeah, I'm calling him Fire Fist. He was there just to be there. I mean, he literally did the exact same thing as the animation. They didn't flush out anyone's characters more. The only thing you could say is Snotlout had a bit more character, even though he was the exact same. He has a bit more, but that was the issue I had. I was like, when they finally started introducing that, I'm like, oh, I'm liking this. I'm liking this little twist in the development of like, oh, these parents aren't parenting. They're focused so much on what they're doing that they're missing their children. Their children are starting to suffer. That's a message for the parents, the kids, the single people, everyone who goes to watch it. That's a message for them. That's something that can be like, oh, I've witnessed stuff like this, because it teaches you something. Here it's just like, they bring it up, and then in the next scene, they're back to just doing the animation over again, not making it original in any way. Everything was just copy pasted. I saw the film. You can literally just put up the animation, watch it, and do a review for the live action, because in the end, it's the exact same thing, with just those few things that are introduced. I didn't care. I was just like, man, I preferred the animation. It just felt a little more wholesome. If they went more into the avenue, a darker aspect in the live action, I think I would have enjoyed it more. But no, it was just the exact same thing over again. The point of making live action is to make it feel more real, more gritty. Not really, but you would think so. Not just do the same thing over again for a cash grab. It's gonna be successful because it's How to Train Your Dragon, but in the end, people are gonna go back to watching the animation. At least, I know I will. Thank y'all for watching. Talk to you next time. Toodles!
You guys got a video? Oh, it's so bad.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Wait, not that.